Okay, today I'm going to try to explain to you how my whole anchor system works. And this is what we use for anchoring up for sturgeon and for halibut. It's basically like a Columbia River system, same type of thing. I use rings instead of a rope type grab to haul with. And I'll show you how all that's done here in just a second. Okay. Well, this is my anchor setup. I have a stainless steel anchor, about 25 pounds, kind of custom built. So you always attach your anchor to the bottom. You always hook up to the chain to a bottom ring, comes up. I put a couple wire ties on here, so if you're pulling and your anchor snagged on the bottom, this will pop loose and it'll spin your anchor over and you'll pick it up from the bottom, so you won't lose your anchor. And I just run normal cable ties, run about 15 feet of chain, and then this is my ring and my Scotchman. And so as you pull with the boat, the anchor will come up off the bottom, and this ring will go, the chain will go all the way through it, and it'll go all the way to that anchor, and your anchor will be hanging there upside down from this in the end when you go pick it up. I run about, I think I have 400 feet of line on there, main line. And then at this connection, I have another ring which is smaller than the original ring on the Scotchman, so that if I do pay out all my line, my Scotchman ring can't go over this, and this acts more like a stop. And this is where my ball will float from. And so if it's rough out, a lot of current, and I need that to act like a shock absorber out in the water, I'll have my anchor down, line comes up, my Scotchman will be floating, then I'll have this yellow floating line all the way back to where the boat is. And that can act like a shock absorber in the rough water or in the heavy currents. And this yellow line is 75 feet of floating line. Got a second ball attached to the end in case we have to ever throw off to chase big fish. And I guess in a pinch, if something happened and I had to double it up and I got a second ring and I could rig it all up, I could use it as a second way to pull it. If I happen to lose my other one or it broke or something, I would kind of have a backup. That is my setup, and we should go to showing you how we pull it. Got the anchor. Got my chain. I got my ring. Those are my Scotchman and my buoy. Have a lot of current here, a little bit of wind, but we'll just give it an extra 30-40 feet. So anchor's on the bottom, give it an extra 30-40, whatever. And this can just go in the water. I'm in 140 some feet, 45 feet of water. I got it. That ball on there is got a Scotchman on it, short piece of rope, goes to an eye that I made, or a ring that looks similar to this, but it's bigger. It's a little bigger than this one, so it won't fit through this one. So if I was going to run all my line out, I'd run all my line, that ring would go all the way through the blue line, it would catch on this one. If that yellow line I have is a floating line, so if I run all my line out, I have the angle of the line, it comes to the boat, my bobber is there, the yellow floating line will go all the way back to the boat, and that line that's sitting there, that ball acts like a shock absorber if you're in really rough water. But since we're here, it's pretty calm. I didn't run all my rope out. So I'll run, I'll leave it tied up to the front, and I'll run, and as I run, that ball with that ring is going to slide all the way to the anchor, and as it pulls, when it gets to the anchor, the ball is going to go under, and my chain and everything will go all the way, and that ring will be sitting, the anchor will be hanging from that ring in the end, and we just spin around and drive back to the ball and pick up all the rope with no weight on it. So we'll see how it works. Okay, well, so I got my rope going. I run it I run mine over the corner here because I don't want it to rest on my bars when I'm pulling. But so I'm going to pull from the front cleat. Always pull from the front. If your anchor snags on the bottom and it spins you around, you're going to want to be nose into it, not pulling from the rear. And if your anchor snags, it's going to pull you backwards and it'll probably swamp you from the back. So we'll pull it along as we kind of make a big half circle. As we pull, the bobber is going to slide all the way down. The chain's going to go through the ring. The anchor is going to stop at the anchor. The bobber will go under once it's on top of the water. And then we spin around and just drive back to the ball and pick up all our rope on top. So here we go. Kind of keep it out my driver's window so I can watch it. Do about 6-8 miles an hour. Sometimes you can feel the boat lighten up when the anchor comes off the bottom. Kind of do a circle just to keep an eye on the rope so you don't get it in the prop. Watch the ball. We're down about 140 feet. And a little extra out, so I probably got 160-80 feet of line out. So there the ball's under. So the ball's under, that means the anchor's there, and now it's pulling underneath. I'll go with an extra little bit just to make sure all the chain gets through. And then we'll spin back around and the ball will come up and my anchor's hanging from that ball. Spin back around, drive back to the ball. Undo this. Your anchor set up, you always hook your chain and stuff to the bottom of the anchor. Never hook it to the top. And then I have a couple wire ties on there. So if my anchor gets snagged on the bottom, those wire ties are going to break and my anchor is going to come up upside down. It's going to pull it loose. You never lose your anchor. That's why there's always a bottom connection. Never hook to here. And I just use just basic electrical wire ties. Okay, just like that.